Yeah, nah, we're not doing that. Okay? Everything below excellent is garbage to me. To me. Okay? Maybe not to you, but to me, everything below excellent is garbage. So we just want the highest level possible, and that's what I'm going to teach you today. Okay, so to start, there are five major rules that you need to respect for your credit score. Now, if you follow this mantra, you could pretty much get an 800 score guaranteed. It's not perfectly guaranteed, but you'll get pretty close. Hopefully you understand what this means, okay? Pay your card in full every month, use less than 10% and you're not a dumbass. Okay, you're pretty much guaranteed an 800. What does this mean? Okay, first you pay your card in full. No partial payments, no minimum payments. And this is a real example of someone in my family that went from an 830 to a 720. I'm not lying, because they missed one payment. 110 points gone because they missed one payment. And the way, this person says, I don't like auto deposit. I don't like auto deposit. Bro, you could have saved yourself 110 points and the headache of building up your credit again if you just turn that on. The banks are not going to rob you or whatever. Bro, they have nothing to take. Okay? Just, it's not that deep. Auto deposit will saves you from the headache. Maybe you don't have access to your bank account or whatever. It freezes. It just is peace of mind. I get not everybody likes it, but it makes a big difference. Okay? Now, something that's important to understand is you pay when you receive your statement, not when you use the card. So what this means is if you use the card today and you pay it off tomorrow, it's not going to contribute to your score. If you use the card today, you want to wait about 1 month before paying. Okay, this gives enough time to generate the statement. This is what this means. If you buy something between January 1st and January 31st, right? It builds up, and then you get your January statement. You have 1 month to pay your January statement. So it'll be due on the 28th of February. So what you do is you buy your stuff in January, you wait till February, and then you pay off your January stuff the month later. Okay, just respect this and pay your card. Next thing is the dumbass part. Okay, so pay attention to your new loans and your old loans. The more loans you have, the riskier you become. Okay, so I want to give you an option. Imagine Greg and Jeff. Greg, this guy just got one credit card, no debt. You got Jeff, he's got 3 credit cards, a car loan, a student loan, a fast money. Clearly you know that this guy is riskier than Greg. And if you had to loan him money, I'm going to guess you're going to loan it to Greg. And that's why he probably has a better score than Jeff. So take that into consideration. The more loans you have open, the more it impacts your score. Another thing, out of the important major factors is the length. Now, technically, to have the most amount of points in this category, you need to have your cards open for more than 10 years. So we can pretty much forget this. It's very possible to get above 800 credit score, even going up to 850 without this 10-year problem. It doesn't account for that much of your score, but it is important. But something that you should consider when it comes to this is just don't close your first card or your oldest card. Those ones you'll probably want to keep open. Even if you don't use them, it just contributes to your overall length. They're not looking for an average. They're looking for the oldest one. Like, when did you start? So you kind of want to keep your old one, even if it's like $250 or whatever. Try not to close that. This is the thing. This is the main key that keeps people between 700 and not pushing that 800. And that's the credit usage, right? So this is a weird trick. This is like literally the definition of banks holding information so that you can't succeed. What banks want is for you to use between 8 and 10% of your total credit per month. So if you have a $1,000 limit, you only use between $80 and $100. Okay? And what sucks even more is they still want you to use 80. So they want you to be really aware of what's your limit. So between 80 and 100. Don't spend zero, because they'll remove points. Trust me, they'll remove points. But don't spend more than 100. Then it seems a little more risky. So I want to go back to our example again. Okay, we have Greg and we have Jeff. Greg has they both have $10,000 available. One uses $800 a month and one uses $8,800 a month. Okay, so Greg is probably going to have a better score because he's only using 8% of his total credit versus 88% from Jeff. So you got to just think of this from a risk perspective. If you're loaning someone money and every month they're asking for the max amount, you're kind of iffy when he says like, yo, let me get double that. You're like, yo, you're already having trouble paying me back the 10 grand. I don't know if I want to give you 20. But, you know, if Jeff comes up to me and he only uses $800 every month and he's like, yo, I kind of want to get 20 from you. You know, can you just allow me to have 20? I think I'm just going to use like 1,500 a month now. I would be a lot more inclined to work with Greg than Jeff just because of how, you know, they're behaving with what they have available. Okay? And again, this is probably the thing. If you're in 700s, if you're in the 700s, it is probably the thing that's holding you back to get to 800. Is this utilization, because it's such a pain. They want you to be so picky and keep such a hard eye on what you're spending. But, you know, the trick to this is you just keep an eye on it. When you know you're at your 10%, you just move to debit for the rest of the month. And there's a very, very good chance that you will get above 800. This is a strategy that I've helped a lot of people use to get over 800. And it sounds tedious and annoying, but within 3 to 4 months, you're there. You're at 805, you're about 815, 820, just from this one change. And it's annoying because, you know, they force you to pay a lot of attention. So again, what are the rules? You pay your card in full. You keep an eye on your old loans, right? And your new loans. You don't go crazy with opening cards. Your credit length, you don't close your oldest one. But if you have to close them, it's okay. And you have your total usage. You only use a specific percentage. So that's what I was saying. You pay your card in full every month. You use less than 10%, so 8 to 10%. And you're not a dumbass. You're not just swiping your card, going crazy, opening up all the cards you want in the world, getting new loans, getting fast money, all that stuff. Another thing that's really important is the type of things you apply for. So there's something called a soft inquiry and a hard inquiry. A soft inquiry has no effect. This is like when you check your credit score on your credit app, you know, Credit Karma or whatever. Just checking your score on a daily basis. That's okay. That's not going to do anything. That's a soft. Hard inquiry is when the bank needs to do a full credit report. If you're going to go get a car, if you're going to go, rent a new apartment, they're going to do a hard inquiry. They're going to check your score, and they have to go directly to credit union, and that will remove some points. It's not too many. Usually it's like 10 to 20 points, but just remember, hard inquiries remove points. Soft inquiries has no effect. It's not always the most accurate. It could be a couple months behind, which is why a lot of times if you're going to get a car or if you're going to get a house, they want a hard inquiry, which is, you know, very accurate. It's same day or same week. It's good, but it does lower your score. Just remember that. Accurate lowers your score. Not that accurate doesn't lower your score. Okay? And those are the main things that you need to know. Just again, pay your card in full. Use less than 10%, and don't be a dumbass. I think most of you are smart enough to not do this last part. You're getting education. So it's probably this 10% that's screwing you over, and it's such a pain. But if you really want that 800, I can almost promise you, almost guarantee you that all you have to do is that. Aim for 10%, then do the rest on debit. Give it 2-3 months, and you'll get to 800. Okay? I'm not a financial advisor. I've lost and made thousands of dollars in pretty much every single investment market there is. Crypto, metals, stocks, trading, options, all of it. All of it, man. Real estate, all of it. Okay? So if you have any questions, if you want to work on your credit, or if you want to start investing, check out my Discord. I'm always open to questions. I'm always open just to chat. So if you want to, talk about different options, things like that, you want to get more informed, send me a message and let's do it.